Good morning and welcome to the Trading the Text show for Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. So we're going to take a look at some of the charts tonight. We're going to go through pretty quickly here, just see what kind of setups we have. Now, this week is the week of our FOMC statement and rate announcement that's coming at 2 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday. So typically during that week or something like that coming, it typically comes out on Wednesday at 2 when it does come out. And typically the market is quiet prior to that announcement because everybody kind of hangs out. The traders kind of hang out and wait to see which way the market's going to go. They hate to get stuck in a position prior to an announcement like that. That's going to be heavily weighted. So there's a lot less activity in the market. Now we are in the retail market as well. So it's really, the retail traders, brokers that are doing this. So we're kind of our own little niche inside of the $5.5 trillion a day currency market. We're a small part of that as the retail section. So what we see here is just really the market makers just not wanting to move too much before a major announcement. There wasn't a lot of news today, so I wasn't expecting a lot of movement in the markets, but we got some. Here we are looking at the pound Swiss. We'll kind of jump around here tonight a little bit and just see what we come up with. Here's the pound Swiss. Looks like we got a buy signal here on the pound Swiss. We were headed up here this morning, but then we actually started to turn around and head down again. Now, we had this peak here, but we had a lower peak here. So we couldn't do the breakout bounce here, but we did have one that came around and it did kind of bounce as well here. It bounced, but then it turned negative, but it still didn't cross our low. And then it just bounced away. And now we're just kind of trading off to the right a little bit. The candles here weren't super impressive, but we did get a couple of bigger moves here, I guess, going into the end of, into the evening tonight. We did get some moves down. Right now, the monthly change is down 3.5% or so. The daily change is down 0.11%, and the weekly change is actually up 2.6%. So on the week, we're up, but at the same time, we've retraced a lot of what we've done. So right now we're sitting here 116.53. If I'm looking at playing this, I'm going to look at playing this with a Fibonacci retracement to the upside, and I'll draw that in here. We're going to go from this high to this low on a Fibonacci retracement. That's what we would do. Let me go ahead and draw that in now since I've got my little tool up. Here to here. It's a small area between this high and low. It's not that many pips, but it's definitely something that we could play. And if you're practicing, it's a great trade for you to practice with. So we come past this 23.6. Our next stop here is at 38.2, and then the 50 and the 61. That's all within range. It's all within this particular pairs range. So there's no reason that it won't continue up and hit that 38.2 at least, and then maybe the 50. Might continue on past that, especially considering the big fall that we got, last week, the end of last week, and then we've kind of just decided we're not going to really trade that much below that. So, whether they can, we're not, whether they're going to move this higher remains to be seen, or if we're just going to kind of stay in this range and just bounce around remains to be seen. So that's the pound Swiss. The pound yen, I did enter a trade tonight. It took a lot longer than normal just because I did some tweaks to the software itself. But it's it's designed to give us a little bit better entry. So we'll wait a little bit more on some of the entries, but it should be better entries than we would normally get into. So I added some things to the algorithm to make it look for a little bit better place to enter into. And so we did get in over here on this pound yen. If we're looking at it on a Fibonacci retracement, we're going to draw from this level here as the high down to this low. We drop it on just like that. You can see we passed the 23.6 already. We've got a nice green candle going here. We're coming up on the 38.2. And so if we break past that, because this was a level that showed us some resistance before, it showed us some support here originally, and then it bounced down below and came back to check that 38.2 level and became a resistance level. So we think, my thinking on it is probably going to stop here just a little bit, probably hang out, check out this number a little bit, even if it slides over just a little bit. It's still going to check out this level to find out hey, what are we doing here? Is this going to be a support and then do we move on, or is this going to be a resistance that rejects the direction that we're in now? We've got a number of green candles there, so that bodes well. And remember too, when we get this signal, that we're waiting for a sell signal higher. So typically that's why this is going to work for us as a trade. So this one actually is doing pretty good. So I think, you guys have an idea of what to do with that. As far as the pound US, kind of the same exact motion, right? We got the same thing here on the pound US as we have on the pound yen. So I'm not going to totally go over it. You guys know exactly what to do. You draw your Fibonacci retracement from the top to the bottom, and then you allow your trades to trigger based on the entry prices or rates that you enter. So let's go over here. Let's see if we can pull up some New Zealand charts here. I'm just going to jump around a little bit so that it's not so monotonous from front to back. Looking at this, we've got a high and a low here. Now these are 15-minute charts too, so I'm not going to waste time trying to change the charts time frames right now, just because the computer's just been really slow lately, and so it's taking time to draw things on a chart and all that. So we'll just kind of skip over that for now. But if you look at it, we already kind of retraced this move, and this actually was like a V-shaped move. So it came all the way down, created this new low. We bounced right up from that, hit the 23.6, and then cruised basically almost to the 61.8. We probably hit about 61%, 60 and change. So we're getting there. We're still not probably done yet. So we still may have a little bit of area to actually work with. Maybe some momentum is there that'll get us to the 61.8. But at any rate, we should be moving our stops. Once we pass that 50, you want to be moving your stop up, maybe just below the 50 or something like that, to allow the trade to breathe just a little bit. But if it pulls back too much, we don't want to, we don't want to stay in the trade. All right, so let's look at the New Zealand Swiss. That was New Zealand CAD. Let's look at New Zealand Swiss. New Zealand Swiss, we've got a lot of, random action here, just kind of like this bouncing back and forth action that we've got going on. And just looking at this particular chart, nothing really stands out to me just yet. It's a little bit funky because we've got these three signals here, but they're not actual sell signals or buy signals. So we're just gonna kind of leave this one. When I have it like that, I'm just gonna kind of leave it because I'd rather see this type of indication on my chart that I should be trading one way or another. Right now, this is kind of a guess, and even though this might be a good signal, or this might be a good point where the person is getting out of the trade or maybe getting into one, I'm still not going to be too keen on that until I get what I want for my particular trading plan. So I want to see the high and the low like this on the chart, and that's why. So, when we talk about Forex and people kind of go into Forex thinking like there's, show me the one way that works. And, there's multiple ways. So there's a lot of things that you should consider as you're learning and as you're, beginning to choose your brokers. There's a lot of options to consider. So definitely, be on your toes about that, and see what comes out. Now, we bounced off of this, the zero. We went through the 23.6, the 38.2. We actually hit our 61.8. Now we got a little wick kind of growing up here. So we're going to find out if this 61.8 is going to stand as a resistance. But like I say, on this New Zealand yen, you should have your stops move to break even at this point. Break even plus some pips. So typically my stop is going to be up here around the 50, maybe above the 50. And then we just tighten it up as we go. We talked about with the moving averages, we talked about that last night. As the 50 gets away further from the candlesticks, that means that the move is going to exhaust. So, you know, if all of a sudden there's a gap between the pricing and the moving average by 50 points or something like that, then that's when we know that we're going to be exiting the trade or looking to move our stop up tighter. Okay, looking at this New Zealand Singapore dollar, it's not one that we look at often, but if you look at it here, it looks like we have a situation where we could get a Fibonacci retracement on this, maybe going from this high to this low. And so let's see if that will draw. Okay, there we go. So it popped on for us. This one kind of has that V-shaped recovery in it too. We got down here, you know, all the way to the zero mark here, and then boom, 23.6, 38.2, and then we hit our 61.8. We didn't quite as high as New Zealand yen, but we hit that, so that's good. New Zealand Singapore dollar is not one that I traded a lot in the past. It's just now that I noticed that the spread was a lot better than it had maybe been in the past, or it's close enough spread where I could actually trade it. And we're talking about two great currencies. New Zealand, you know, of course, being its, you know, autonomous country on its own, and having, you know, gold and minerals and things like that. And then you have Singapore, which is, you know, a banking hub and all that, in Southeast Asia as well. That's got money too. So why not, you know, join them, you know? So, you know, why not, you know, look at that and, you know, start trading that if the spread is decent. You know, that's what we're looking for. On this US dollar Swiss, I really don't have any more signals. I had this one way back here on the 10th of September. And from there, we got these, but they're not our full signal. So I wouldn't take it per se. This might actually be a different type of signal. You know, it might, you know, just be one of the signals that comes with the indicator, but not the one that I like to trade. So I'm really not going to mess with this one and create a trade out of it. For me, it's not that important to do that. So now we did have this fall here. If we don't break this this high, then obviously, I mean, if we don't break this low, with where we're coming back and retreating now, if we don't break that, I think that we pounce off to the upside. So we're going to be watching for that as a breakout bounce trade. You know, and so we'll have a lot of room here to actually place a trade if this goes down that way. Let's look at the US dollar yen. On the US dollar yen, you can see that we had this precipitous fall yesterday in our trading, and then it kind of bounced up here, and now it's trading to the upside. But there's a lot of room here, you know, if we break past this level of resistance that we see here. Let me put a line on that just in case. We kind of got a level of resistance here. So if we break past that, though, there's a lot of distance up here to the 106 area or so like that. So maybe we go that far, you know, at least maybe in the 105.90s. You know, if we got a stop loss going up there, then maybe, you know, we can get above that. But I would definitely try to lock that in if we get it, because there's so much room here. Normally when we fall this hard, we tend to kind of retrace that, you know, a lot of it, just because the brokers are realizing that they may have gone too far, right? Okay, so let's go here. Let's look at the Euro US. For the Euro US, we have this nice bounce around. I don't know, you know, what this candle is going to do right now, but it looks like it may close above the previous candle or the previous signal. So, if it does that, then this definitely is not going to be a breakout bounce to the downside. If I look at the weekly change, we're up 0.35%. The daily change, we're up 0.2%. And for the month, we're down 0.41% or so. So I think that there might still be some upside to this euro. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. If it breaks this level as the new high, that's fine. We will get a new signal here for a trade to the downside. As far as the Euro New Zealand, let's take a look at that. On the Euro New Zealand, we're kind of going the opposite way. We do have this low here. So we're going to take our Fibbo tool and we're going to draw the low to the high. You can see we got a signal here for the high as well. And as far as like the levels, we might not even have caught this 23.6 because, it's just a long wick that took us up above 177.50 or so. But it's just a long wick. And then that candle came down here and closed 177.29 or something. So this one we might not have caught unless we played the 38.2, because there's no way we're going to know that is going to come back and hit that 23.6 in the same candle that made the high. So we don't know that for sure. But we hit the 61.8. So this is just showing you that this happens quite a bit. It's a trade that you can kind of rely on happening most of the time. If we look at this euro yen, kind of similar situation. We're going though from bottom to top here as well. For the move up, we are almost near the 61.8. So we should really have our stop up here, maybe just below the 50. That's a profit stop. So that should be putting us in profit now if you take the trade correctly. So the 38 and the 23.6 are pretty much hard and fast areas where we get in, because that's telling us there's enough momentum, right? On the euro pound, looks like we just developed a signal, a short signal. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and put on the fib, or yeah, let's do that like this. This is our low. Here's our high. And we're going to, okay, so we're still above the 23.6 from where this is drawn. So we can short this and at the 38.2 as well. And if we short that, then we have a target of the 50 and the 61.8. So, I'm not telling anybody to go out and, get a gun or anything to hit these, but what I'm saying is these occur a lot of times. They occur a lot of times. So, if you want to take them, if they're shorter and you feel like it's not enough pips, that's okay. But, if you see some good trades and you want to just practice, these are great practice trades because it's a 15-minute chart. So there's not a huge amount of pips between them, but they should yield some pips for you. Looking at the Euro Swiss, I might go ahead and play this for a Fibonacci retracement like this. From bottom to top there. We'll see what happens. It's still kind of got a trajectory to the upside. It's not up much. On the week, it's up 0.15%. On the day, it's up 0.04. And then for the month, it's down minus 0.05%. So we'll see what occurs here. But right now, we did get the signal, so we'll draw it in, and then we know where to enter at. Right? We look at the Euro CAD. The Euro CAD is interesting because it came up here, created this peak, and now it's kind of testing that peak again. And then, if it doesn't work out, then it should fall away here. The rate should continue down. And we kind of saw that already starting to happen. So if I'm playing this, I'm really just playing the retracement maybe from here, this level to the high. And then I'm, looking for my short for the 23.6 and then 38.2. All right. So Euro Aussie, let's take a look at this chart. See if this will change for me. Good. So the Euro Aussie is up almost 0.5% on the month, but for the week, it's flat. And then for the day, it's minus 0.11%. If you look at it, we did have a nice move up, and then we fell, immediately very, very hard. So, just within hours, ago, within the last hour and a half or so, we had this nice move down on the Euro Aussie. So this we just have to be a little bit patient with. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure maybe here we had a signal, maybe over here we had a signal to begin with on the downside, but it's not there anymore. So we can respect that it's not there and put our Fibonacci in from top to bottom here. And we're close to the 23.6. Looks like we're headed that way. Like we may actually hit that. So remember what I said, when brokers do this kind of move, they kind of get, buyer's remorse and want to, correct their push to one side or another. So this might actually correct. So we'll watch that one. For the Euro Swiss, let's take a look here. For the Euro Swiss, we're down at about 0.5%. We're down 0.55% now on the month. And for the week, we're down 0.21%. And for the day, we're up 0.13%. You can see that we're definitely headed up here on the Swiss yen. If we put a retracement on it, we're going to go from this high to this low. And we're just passing the 38.2. So you'd be, well on your way. You'd be in the money on the 23.6 and just kind of biding your time on 38.2 until we get some momentum going higher. Let's look at the CAD yen. Okay, on the CAD yen, kind of the same thing. We do have this little bit of a reversal showing up here saying, okay, there's a potential reversing. But if we were to run the Fibonacci, we'd run it from this high to this low. And so we passed the 23.6 and we're sitting on the 38.2. So this might actually just be checking the 38.2 as a level of resistance. If that holds as resistance, then I think we continue up to the 61.8 for sure. All right, so we'll wait on that. Right now, the monthly change is down 1%. The weekly change is down 2% or 0.2% and 0.27. And the daily change, we're up 0.13%. So I think that's slowly going to flip to green. Now on this Aussie US, you can see that we do have a signal up here that's developed within the last 15 to 20 minutes or so. So what we're going to do is take the low, run it to the high, and then see our levels are the 23.6 and then the 38.2 for our entries, right? So that's our Aussie US. Let's take a look at the Aussie New Zealand. See if it cooperates with us here. I don't know why it's so slow. All right, great. So if we're looking at this particular trade, we had this big move up. It's kind of, opposite of what we saw in the Euro Aussie. So we might play that one too, the same way that we played McDonald's, so we'll see, so we'll see what happens here, right? So we have the low here and then the high here. So what we're going to do is short at the 23.6 and 38.2. So you guys already know what that is. I'm tired tonight. I don't know. I just feel like I'm falling asleep here. So let's look at the Aussie yen. For the Aussie yen, it's very simple to see. We know that we have a signal right now, a sell signal kind of growing here. So we're going to place our order in this way or place our Fibo on this one this way. We're going to short at the 23.6 and then the 38.2. And looking at the Aussie CAD, we've got these couple points in between, but we don't have to necessarily take those. We can take this as our last reversal point. Even though there's some that's in between, it's kind of like not, it didn't give me the exact signal that I'm looking for. So I'm going to be willing to short here on the 23.6 and 38.2. So hopefully you got some trading ideas. We're not very busy tonight. We've got some movement going on in the Aussies and, like the Euro Aussie kind of pay the price for what's happening in the Aussie. But other than that, prior to this, we were quite slow. So I don't know. We'll see how the volatility is when we wake up in the morning and see how our trades are doing if we've got some put on. So I thank you for attending the class here with me tonight, just bearing with me and my, tiredness because I've been up all day. you know, and didn't sleep very much, didn't sleep at all, I don't think, last night, maybe just a little bit, maybe an hour or so. So very, very tired, but I'm going to get some sleep tonight. And then tomorrow, or actually this morning, we'll be up here at 6 Eastern time. It's 5 a.m. So it's 6 a.m. where I am. So I have a few hours to get some rest, and then, you know, coming back after the rest, we will record the daily market overview show. All right. Thank you for attending. I'm going to jump off here now. Once again, this is Derek with the Trading the Tech Show for iLi Academy. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.